Today I want to show you how I make my rustic rolls. These rolls are so delicious. I love them for breakfast, for dinner, or just for a sandwich for lunch. They are wonderful and easy to make, and this is how it goes. The way I do it is that I prepare the dough in the evening of the day before and then continue and bake the rolls the next morning. What you need for this recipe is rye flour, semolina flour. I'm not sure if you pronounce it like that, semolina. In Germany we say Hartweizengrieß. Then you need some spelt flour, and if you don't have spelt flour you can instead use some regular wheat flour. Then 150 milliliters of milk, 150 milliliters of water, and I definitely would suggest that you are using the metric system and a scale in this case. For baking, I would generally always say use a scale. It's more precise and the outcome is more predictable. So then we have 8 grams of salt and 8 grams of olive oil, and you also need 3 grams of dry yeast. So this is pretty simple. I throw in all the dry ingredients like this. Then I'm adding the milk and the water. I sprinkle the yeast on top. Stir it a little bit. And I wait a few minutes to see that the yeast is activated. So once I see some bubbling going on here, it's time to start the kneading. And I will knead this for 10 minutes on the lowest setting, and while doing that I will also add the oil and after a little bit also the salt. So and after 10 minutes I speed the things up a little bit for another 5 minutes, setting the kneading to the second setting, and continue to knead for another 5 minutes. So that's almost all I have to do today. I will now cover this airtight, and I let this stand for a little bit, just long enough to see that the size of the dough is increasing a little bit. Not much. I don't want to have this doubled in size or something, nothing like that, because I want that part to happen overnight. So I'm just covering this. Let it sit here for about 20 minutes, and when I see that the size of the dough is increasing slightly, I put it into the fridge and I let it ferment in the fridge for 12 hours or overnight, and then I show you tomorrow how I continue. Here's the dough after one night in the fridge, and I don't know if you can see it. So here are a lot of air bubbles in the dough. The dough has increased in size, and I will now take it out of the bowl and work with it. So let me first put a little bit of flour here. And I'm carefully taking the dough out. There you see it. And I do not want to knead it or anything. I want to leave the air bubbles in the dough as good as possible. Now I want to divide the dough into 6 to 8 rolls, and I usually prefer my rolls a little larger. So I'm making just 6 of them. And they should roughly have the same size. It's not always easy to do that, but somewhere in that area of the same size they should be. This one is a little smaller. It happens. Okay. So now I take one of these dough pieces and I stretch it and I fold it over to the edge that is close to me and press it in here. Okay? Stretch it a little bit again, fold it over, and again, until a very tight roll has been created. And so I want to keep the air bubbles in the dough still, but I also want this to be a tight roll. And once I've made this roll, I let this be covered with a lot of that rye flour and set this one aside. And I take the next one, I fold this over, and again, and again, and I roll it in here. Okay, next one. So this will be on the baking linen or on a kitchen towel, whatever you have. And I place it with the seam to the bottom. Like this. And I cover it. And I let this rise now for about 45 minutes. Towards the end of these 45 minutes, I will start to preheat the oven, and then I show you how I continue. So let's take a look. They have increased in size. I wish they had become a little larger than that. It can take a little longer if the dough is very cold, depending on the temperature of your fridge. I will still risk it and continue to bake. I turn them around now with the seam towards the top, and I've preheated the oven to 230 degrees Celsius, which is 445 degrees Fahrenheit. Then the overall baking time will be 20 minutes, but I will do different things during this 20 minutes. So I will first start baking them with a lot of steam. And after 10 minutes of baking, I will open the oven door very large so that the steam will get out of the oven. Then I close the door again, let it bake for another 5 minutes, and then I put something into the oven door to keep it slightly open and bake it for another 5 minutes. So the overall time is 20 minutes, but they're in sections of 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So, and this is what these rolls look like after baking. They should be a little larger though. Usually they are larger than this, but with filming and everything, I am always a little bit under time pressure, so I couldn't let them rise as long as I wanted to. However, if you do it At home, you can let them rise a little longer so they turn out a little larger. But these are the rustic rolls that I like to do for my family. We eat them mostly for dinner with some cheese or with some cold cuts in it, but they're also very delicious if you eat them with jam or with some honey. Now I hope you like this recipe, try it out, it's worth it. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell button and stay tuned for the next video.